Campbell, Shahid Anna Campbell's father and friends of Kurds. Thanks for accepting the interview.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. So let's start with the latest developments in the northern Iraq. Turkish occupation still goes on, especially on the Medya defense zones. How would you going to comment on that latest invasion attacks of Turkey?
Yeah, I know it's really shocking and it's outrageous and very serious. And it's a continuation or an upscaling, if you like, of Erdogan's war of genocide against the Kurds. This has been going on for decades, as we all know. And the attempt to eradicate Kurdish culture, Kurdish people, Kurdish language, Kurdish presence in the region is this is an offence against human rights, and the United Nations, I'm sure if they were called to make a vote on this, they would condemn it 100%. The Kurds pose no threat to the Turkish regime. They only have retaliated in the light of offences committed against them. The Kurds have as much of a right to exist and to be autonomous as anyone else if they so choose. And the idea that their presence is a threat to the integrity of Turkey or anywhere in the region is paranoia, pure and simple, and it's also racism. It is contrary to all the norms of civilized behavior.
You mentioned about racism. I want to ask something about related with racism, war crimes, humanity crimes. Do you think these attacks are also makes President Erdogan a war criminal, as well as we can hear latest developments, including the chemical weapon allegations as well. So there is many cases in the ECHR as well. So we will hear your story as well about this as well. So how would you going to comment on Erdogan's war crimes?
Yeah, well, Erdogan is a war criminal. He announces in advance what he's going to do, which are crimes against humanity, war crimes and atrocities, and then he carries on and does it. And in this he has there's no obstacle against him coming from his allies in NATO, because he is in a politically and militarily strategic position in Turkey. He puts himself forward as an ally of the West in NATO, an ally of Europe against the so-called threat of Islamic terrorism or any kind of terrorism. He refers to all Kurds as terrorists. I mean, we have the Turkish defense minister, is it? Let me see his name. Hulusi Akar, saying that the war, what does he call it, the assault will be continued until the last terrorist is dead. This is implicitly saying that the Kurds are either terrorists or terrorist sympathizers. And it's a war crime if you choose to call it a war, or it's a crime against humanity if you choose to call it an internal conflict, which I think the court in The Hague has described it. But by any characterization, by any standard, it makes Erdogan a war criminal. Yeah, and he should be brought to the International Criminal Court.
Can we say there is a fingers of Britain as the Britain is selling these chemical weapons to Turkey, and there are
Yeah.
allegations as well.
Yeah. Well, with the interviews that I had with Alistair Burt in the Foreign Office, he would say that under no circumstances would any weapon be sold to a client country on the basis that it was going to be used illegally. Using chemical weapons is illegal. And so the British government would say, if we sold him these chemicals, we didn't do it giving him permission to use them against Kurdish populations.
How would you going to comment on the KDP and Turkey relations, as well as the UK, as well as, you know, the Barzani family is breaking the unity of the Kurds in the area?
Well, Barzani is an enigmatic figure. I can't really understand him, except that I think he's playing the long game. I think he is essentially pro-Kurdish. Obviously he is Kurdish, but he will be seeing that if he doesn't provoke the stronger powers around him, that they will be much more likely to look kindly on him, to look favourably on him and the Kurdish regional government, so that he will get support in the long term for a much more strongly autonomous Kurdish region, and maybe even eventually an independent Kurdistan.
We talked about the KRG, so I would like to ask you about the PKK as well. The PKK is still on forbidden organizations list, and do you think Turkey is hiding behind or using the opportunity of that the PKK is on the list to carry out these war crimes against them?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, if you don't classify the Turkish authorities' aggression against Kurds in Bakur, northern Kurdistan, but if you describe it as an internal conflict, then the rules of war don't apply. So, strictly speaking, the Geneva Convention doesn't apply. But human rights apply. You cannot attack somebody and try to kill him without a good reason, i.e. in self-defense. You can't do it just because you don't like them or because they belong to a different political party from you. But this is what Erdogan is doing, and it amounts to crimes against humanity, yeah.
Lastly, what else needs to be done to stop Turkey's war crimes and humanity crimes? But before that, very shortly, I want to ask you, the latest developments is the Iraqi army is entering to Sinjar, Shengal as well. So you know Shengali people as well. So what is your comment about that? Why they attacking Shengal? Very shortly.
Well, the Shengal is where the Yazidis come from. A lot of Yazidis there. Yazidis are kind of alien people to most Middle Easterners. They have this strange religion. They're not Muslims. They won't integrate. So they're not understood. And whatever you don't understand, you fear, and you probably try to attack. And there's some warped psychology going on here that has long roots going back into history. The Yazidis have always been subjected to discrimination, repression. It's just a continuation of that.
It is the continues of genocides against the Yazidi people, we can say. Also, I want to ask you, as I mentioned, what needs to be done to stop Turkey's war and war crimes against Kurds?
Well, the only thing we can do is try and inform as many people as possible, try to make sure that through outreach, through media and messaging, through maybe videos like this, I don't know, we can ally it to the legal action that I'm taking against the Turkish state, and talk about it.
Also, let's get your message to solidarity message to Kurdish community as well, while they are under attack, while they are under invasion of the Turkey.
Well, my heart goes out to you, my dear Kurdish friends. I feel like you are my family now, because of the special relationship that Anna, my daughter, formed with you, and I feel for you and I fear for you, and I hold you in my heart as much as I would any member of my family that was in danger or under threat.
Dear Dirk Campbell, Anna Campbell's father and friends of Kurds, thanks for your valuable comments, and thank you for again to accept that interview.
Thank you for asking me.